For millions of Americans, paying rent means a balancing act.
Yeah, I pay it every month. I don't pay it on time. I pay it when I get it.
Across the United States, inflation is at its highest levels in 4 decades, as rents have hit record highs this year, and mortgages have seen week-to-week increases not seen since the 80s. More than 10 million renters say they're not caught up on rent as of March, the highest proportion in Black communities.
That was CNN in their effort to become a legitimate news organization once again, reporting that Joe Biden's economy is hitting blacks hardest. They can't pay their rents. Meanwhile, our negative growth in the first quarter of 2022 was worse than we initially thought. Joining me now is the editor-in-chief of TrishIntel.com and the host of the Trish Regan Show, Trish Regan herself, along with political analyst Mark Halpein. Hey to you both. Trish, you know, we're learning today that the U.S. economy actually shrank at a 1.6% annual pace through quarter one this year. That's a downward revision. You wrote on how last month more than half of all U.S. consumers continue to live paycheck to paycheck. Not only are things not good, but under Biden's policies, I don't believe they can get better. What do you think?
Oh, I'm with you there. I mean, I think that because of his policies, we're in the position we're in now, and he hasn't shown any path forward to dig us out of this mess. I mean, a lot of people have said, well, you know, it's hard given what's going on. You know, what can he really do? Well, for starters, he could be a whole lot more positive on the whole idea of energy that's home sourced, and I mean traditional energy, not just green, right here at home. And there are plenty of other things. The problem is he thinks he can spend his way out of this. This is the whole Democrat mantra that we have heard over and over and over again. And the reality, Chris, as you know, as I know, is that it doesn't work that way. And so when you talk about $1.9 trillion worth of stimulus, when you talk about 3 COVID checks, which is what they did, 3 stimulus checks between Trump and then Biden, and then you got the Fed on top of it, printing all the money it did, you have got the perfect storm. I believe, Chris, we're in a recession right now. You're looking at a statistic, the first 3 months of the year down 1.6%. There's been estimates anywhere from 0 to 0.4% growth for the second quarter. I don't think we're going to get it. When all the revisions are done, I think you will learn that the U.S. economy is currently in recession, which is defined as 2 negative quarters of growth.
Right, understood. And just getting word of this from the Republican National Committee, Gina McCarthy, who is the climate advisor, bragging about how the fossil fuel industry is losing jobs. They're bragging about how Americans are losing their jobs in the Biden economy in the fossil fuel industry. Mark, this brings up an old political axiom. I know you know it well. It's the economy, stupid. We're getting closer to November. Democrats believe that Americans will vote on abortion and the January 6th clown show going on right now. What does your analysis say?
Economy is going to matter most. The question is just how dominant it will be. Chris, I think the president and his advisors like to say other people are to blame. I'm not sure that's true in every instance, but Americans, I don't think, are interested in blame. They're interested in solutions. And Joe Biden, who served as chair of Foreign Relations Committee, as the Judiciary Committee, the economy has never been his deal. And I think what you're seeing now is an administration that largely lacks people with private sector experience, does not have the confidence of much of the private sector. And I don't think many Democratic strategists think they can turn the economy around. Can they make people feel at least there's a plan to turn it around? That also remains, I think, an open question.
Yeah. Trish, Biden over the G7 prior to attending the start of the NATO summit in Spain today. Biden had this exchange with French President Emmanuel Macron when it came to discussing Biden's push to kill American energy jobs and American energy, and then ask, you know, the Saudis for more oil. Watch this.
With your advisor, I took the commission to call MBZ. So I call for increasing the production by renewables. So I got him, he told me 2 things. One, I'm at the maximum. Second, he told me, according to us, the Saudis can increase a little bit, but 150 or a little bit more, and they don't have huge capacities at this stage, before 6 months' time.
So Trish, there's Biden getting the bad news that his anti-energy policies are really having a detrimental effect and are our allies, quote unquote, can't help us out. You know, at this point, I don't care much about the political damage being done to Biden and his political party. I care about the damage being done to our people. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, the damage is significant. I don't think you're going to see a decline in energy prices anytime soon. But what amazes me over and over again, Chris, is it's like the left hand's not talking to the right hand. I mean, our intelligence professionals knew this was going to happen. We knew that this was coming. The storm effectively that was brewing between Ukraine and Russia, we were well aware. So think about it for just 2 minutes. If you're over at State and you're like, okay, we're going to probably have to sanction Russian oil, then is no one actually talking to Biden or, say, the Department of Energy and saying, guys, you know, you may not want to be so harsh on Saudi Arabia. I get it. You don't like Saudi Arabia, but hey, you know what? You're going to need them in a few months. And by the way, I know you're really into green energy, and I am too. But guess what? We're going to have a problem in a few months because there's a whole lot of energy that's going to come offline worldwide, both for the Europeans and for us. And it's like they just can't get out of their own way. They should have seen this one coming, and it's highly disappointing that they failed so badly to be able to just look ahead 2 feet.
Well, Mark, in the primary contest last night, we have you on after every one of these, and each one of these contests or series of contests tells a different story. What were your takeaways last night?
I think President Trump's endorsed candidates did pretty well, particularly in Illinois, where I think his endorsements made a big deal in a very important House race. Two Republican House members running against each other in the governor's race. And in Colorado, a blue state, the Democratic Party tried to intervene in a series of Republican contests and didn't get their way. And so if you're looking to see in the House race, Congressman Boebert won handily, despite Democratic efforts to vote there. In the nomination fight for the Senate seat to face off against Democratic incumbent Michael Bennet, Republicans nominated what most people think is the stronger candidate. There you see the Illinois race, member on member, where President Trump's endorsed candidate won quite handily. So pretty good night for Donald Trump in Illinois, pretty good night for establishment Republicans in Colorado, increasing their chances of winning some of the contested races through the nomination of more moderate Republicans.
Trish Regan, Mark Halpein, always appreciate the visit, guys. We'll talk to you next week.